What was your name again?
Hare, Rabbit. H-A-R-E, Edgar Hare.
Edgar Hare. Okay.
Here it is.
Put it right down there. Let me get in on that. Okay. Lieutenant USNR. Okay.
Right.
There you are. Pull back a little bit. Okay.
That was on my desk when I had the dirtiest, nastiest job in the Navy.
What was that?
Censorship.
Censorship. Oh my
That
God.
is a dirty, nasty job.
It is? Well, why is it dirty and nasty?
Well, you're reading other people's mail.
Yeah.
There's things in personal things in there, and all.
What's your middle name?
I have none. I'll give you an explanation of why I have none.
Go ahead.
When I was born in northern Brown County in 1906, I'm 94 years old today.
You're how old?
94.
You don't look a day over 70.
Well, when I was born in 1906, they didn't pay much attention to names, birth certificates, and that. And when I was a twin.
You were.
And I was christened Frank Edgar Hare. But when I picked up my birth certificate, it was just Edgar Hare.
I see.
So from then on, I dropped the middle name because that was caused confusion. So all my Navy records and everything is Edgar and in parentheses Hare.
Well, let's see. What's today? It is...
2nd of August, 1906, when I was born.
And, okay.
And I was a twin. There had to be two of me.
Did there have to be?
There was.
Is your twin deceased?
Yes, about 12, 15 years ago.
Oh, I see.
We graduated from a little high school in northern Brown County.
What was the name of it?
Eagle Township.
Eagle Township High School.
Right. It was a consolidation. The township was Eagle. It was a consolidation. Probably one of the first in the state of Ohio because it was done in 1912.
Oh, I see.
And the high school building was built completed in 1917 in World War I. And it was, I'm sure, the first integrated because there was a colored school in the township. And when they consolidated, they brought them together.
Was there any conflict over bringing them together, or nobody cared at all?
The conflict was the location of the high school.
Oh, okay. Not who went.
Who went? No, they
didn't matter.
There was a conflict on where they were going to put it. It was quite a fight to get it done.
That building's probably gone now, isn't it?
No, it's still there, but it's a wreck.
Oh, it is?
I don't even know who owns it. No, it's there.
It's not being used for anything.
No. It's on Route 62. There's a little town there, Fincastle.
Okay.
And it's right at the south end of Fincastle. It's still there.
How many kids in your graduating class?
12. And in that, what I was going to tell you, in that school, a little school, there were 4 sets of twins.
Oh.
Which was very unusual. You know, usually you wouldn't find 4 sets of twins.
That'd make the papers, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Well, I fill this out. Keep this with your stuff. This says that you're being videotaped here, and our tape is going to be at Portsmouth Public Library. You're on tape number 13. So when your great-great-great-great-grandchildren, when nephews and nieces, all that want to take a peek at you, they can go to 100 years from now, the people that watch this, you know. So you can keep that, and when they find it, they'll go to tape 13 at the Portsmouth Public Library. Well, Mr. Hare, I want to ask you some questions, and I've asked your name already, and you've told me your date of birth. Now, where were you born? Brown County?
Brown County, Eagle Township in Brown County.
Okay.
And that's the northern part of the county.
Okay.
Brown County is about halfway between here and Cincinnati.
All right. Now, your present address here is, what's this address? What's the name?
1610 28th Street.
And this is Hillview,
Retirement Center.
Hillview Retirement Center in Portsmouth, Ohio.
All right.
Okay. What was your occupation?
I was a teacher.
Okay. Where did you teach?
My last classroom duty was at Hughes High School in Cincinnati.
Oh, I see.
And I left there early 60s and went to the State Department of Education in Columbus.
I see.
And I retired from the State Department of Education in 1968.
I see. Well, you have then the education. How much education did you get?
I got my baccalaureate degree from Miami University in Ohio, and I got my master's on the GI Bill when I came back from the Navy.
When did you get your BA degree?
1940.
40, and your
master's 1950.
Okay. Are you married, single, divorced,
I'm married, and we've been married. We're now on our 71st year of marriage.
Is that right?
Right.
Newlyweds then, aren't you?
Newlyweds.
And you didn't have children?
No.
Okay, you have, let me ask you this then. I want to establish a genealogical line here if we can. So what were your parents' names?
Frank Hare and Margaret Hare.
Okay.
And he was a farmer and a custodian at this high school.
I see.
And she was a housewife.
Now, do you know your father's parents' names?
I never met any of my grandparents. I think I know their names, but I never met any of them.
See if you can think of their names.
Well,
Your father's first. That's a hard one.
Yes, it is.
Particularly not me.
I believe it was Dan. Daniel Hare, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
And I think his wife's name was Alice.
Okay.
But what her maiden name was, I don't know.
Okay. How about your mother's parents?
Her father's name was Robert Kibler, and her mother, I'm not sure.
What was her maiden name then?
Kibler.
K-I-B-L-E.
Kibler Lumber Company in Mount Orb.
Okay.
The
same outfit?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, Fred Kibler was her cousin.
I see. Now, you have brothers and sisters?
I had the twin brother, and then I had an older brother who was in World War I.
What was your older brother's name?
Robert.
Robert.
Robert Hare.
Okay.
He passed away several years ago.
Okay. And your twin brother's name?
Edwin.
Edwin.
You're Edgar and Edwin.
Okay.
Right.
Did you look a lot alike?
No.
Nobody got you mixed up?
No, we were not. I looked like my mother's people, and he looked like my father.
Oh, I see. All right. Well, let me ask you this then. Your wife's parents' names, do you know those?
Yes, I do.
What are her parents' names?
Lester Jandes, J-A-M-D-E-S.
Okay, that's her father.
That's her father, and her mother's name was, she was a foster before she was married.
Foster.
Gracie Foster.
Okay, all right.
Gracie Foster Jandes.
Did she have brothers and sisters, your wife?
Yes, she had. She was the oldest, and then she had a younger brother and two younger sisters and another younger brother. The younger brother was born 2 years after we were married.
Oh, I
So
see.
he really grew up with us.
Oh.
In fact, they lived with us after he was married.
Pretty much raised him. And
Right.
That sort of
Because he was working in Cincinnati, and when he got married, and they lived with us. He and his wife both worked in Cincinnati, and they lived with us there.
Now, where is your wife from?
She's from Winchester, Ohio.
Okay, that's
Adams County.
That's in Adams County, yes. Now, where did you live most of your married life there when you weren't here?
We lived probably 15 years in Seaman. You're right. I taught there for about 15 years till I went into the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lived in the Navy Everglades.
Right.
We were all over the country. And then when I retired, we built a new house in Seaman, and we moved back there. And we were there until we moved into Hillview.
I see. Well, let me ask you some questions then about the Navy. When did you enlist? Were you drafted?
Yeah, no.
You enlisted?
I went in with a direct commission.
Okay.
I went in with a direct commission.
Because you had your bachelor's degree.
Right.
Okay.
And, well, they wanted teachers.
Okay.
They wanted teachers.
What is this?
That's a picture when I went in.
Mm-hmm.
And
The picture when you came out? Or?
no, that's about the same time. I was still a JG. I'm a two-striper now, which is the same. This rate is the same as a first lieutenant in the Army, and Air
Oh, I
Force
see.
Marine.
Okay.
And the two stripers, which I am now, is the same as a captain.
Okay. So, I was in the Army. I would understand that you
Yes.
were captain as
Right,
well.
right. Air Force, Marines.
I'll tell you what, hold those up there. Both of those. And let me see. I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to go over here and play with the camera. See if I can get in on that. I might, let's see here.
To get this book out of the road.
Yeah.
Can you get it?
Okay, yeah. I got him. Now, about what is the year of those pictures, would you say?
I would say 43.
1943.
Yes.
All right, very good. Now, were you on ship duty when those were taken?
I was in the Navy 3.5 years and spent 12 days on the water.
12 days. Okay. Very good. That's all right. I got it. That's a good shot.
I did my indoctrination at Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by indoctrination?
Teach me about the Navy.
Oh, okay. How long did that take?
Well, we were at Ohio State. There was about 15 of us at Ohio State. I told you they were looking for teachers because I was in Naval Air. And I was stationed always at a Naval Air Station. And it was what we were in there for was for the identification of aircraft or service craft.
I see.
And there was a professor up at Ohio State who had developed what they called a cystoscope. It's nothing more than a slide projector with a lens on it that you can cut it down to 10 seconds or whatever you want. And what they did was to flash pictures of ships and aircraft, and these sailors or air crewmen were supposed to identify them. Keep from friendly fire.
That's a good idea.
Right, see, because, well, the Navy's F-6Fs looked a lot like a Japanese Zero.
Oh, okay.
And you had to identify them just to flash, like that.
Could a person learn to do that?
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh.
The sailors did.
Okay.
They did.
Was that what you did then? I mean, you taught them? That's
right.
Okay.
And we spoke to them about the armament of the ships and cruisers and all that.
Probably saved a lot of lives, didn't you?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know. So when we finished our work at Ohio State, it was about 8 weeks. We were sent to a little aviation gunnery school down at Purcell, Oklahoma.
Now, you were at Ohio State. Do you
Right.
remember the names of some of the buildings you did your work in?
We were billeted in Baker Hall, which is now a girls' dormitory. And we did the most of our work at Darby Hall.
Darby Hall. Okay.
Right. That's where we had most of our classes. And we did a lot of swimming and all that in the natatorium.
Right.
We did that.
That was Ohio State. I remember I went to Ohio State, got a master's there, and Arts Hall was where I did a lot of my work. Was that there then?
I don't know. I didn't know too much about the campus except that I knew where the gymnasium was, I knew where Darby Hall was.
All right, sounds good.
And we were supposed to do guard duty at Darby Hall, and they issued us ammunition belt and the .38 caliber pistol with no ammunition.
Well, that's good, yeah.
No ammunition. The sailor's not supposed to know how to use guns.
No, that's for the Army.
We were there for 12 weeks, and then we went to this little gunnery school.
Yeah, then tell me that. You went after Ohio State.
Right.
You went to where?
Purcell, Oklahoma, which is about south of Norman, where the university is.
Not a big coastline there, is there?
People laugh at you when you say you were in the Navy in Oklahoma, but there were a lot of naval stations in Oklahoma, all over Oklahoma.
Okay.
And we trained air crew and aircraft pilots in recognition of aircraft and service craft and armament and all that.
How long were you there?
We were there for, I think, about 6 weeks. And then we were shipped out.
Where did you go after that?
The Naval Air Station at Kaneohe Bay.
Okay. Kaneohe Bay sounds Hawaii.
It is.
All right.
And I brought a map to show you just about where it is.
All right.
This is Kaneohe Bay right here. See the bay?
And
Here's Honolulu over here.
Where's Pearl Harbor? There's Pearl Harbor.
Yes, this is Pearl. This is Honolulu. This is Pearl Harbor. This is where the big Naval Air Station was, Barbers Point, which is now out of commission. They decommissioned it. They moved all of the aviation, Navy aviation over here. This now is a Marine Corps Air Station.
I see.
Where they fly helicopters out there.
Kaneohe.
Kaneohe, the little town there, Kaneohe. They used this bay. They flew out of here principally flying boats, PBYs and Coronados, 4-engine and 2-engine bombers. They flew out of this bay because the water is relatively calm there, so they could land and all.
Hi there, how are you?
Hi, buddy. This is him.
That's him.
That's the Army. We got it straightened out.
Well, you're next then.
Okay, buddy. I'm sorry I'm late. I had to have breakfast with my son, and he always eats like a pig.
No, he doesn't, but he bought.
You bet.
Well, I wouldn't miss that.
I wouldn't go if he didn't.
I was back over there in '86. This is a picture of it. It's now a Marine Corps Air Station.
You know, I neglected to ask you your wife's name.
Mana, M-A-U-N-I-A.
Mana, M-A-U-N-I-A. That's an interesting name.
Well, I don't know where her mother got it.
She's back with it.
I tell her that she was named after the volcanoes in Hawaii.
Right.
And she blows up every
Did she have that kind of personality? She had that kind of
Really
personality.
This, by the way, this is the monument. The Japs attacked Kaneohe about 20 minutes before they hit Pearl Harbor. And there were 19 killed there that day. That Sunday. And this is the monument that our organization, the Kaneohe Clippers, put up.
Well, that's
and we have a memorial every December 7th. The Marines, which is now a Marine Corps Air Station, they conduct a memorial over there and we pay for it.
That's good. That's very good.
So
you went over to revisit your station there,
right?
Okay.
Right. And
I bet that brought back a lot of memories.
Yes, it did. That was a picture of a reunion we had. All of these people, except the women, were stationed at Kaneohe Bay.
Is that right?
We're called the Kaneohe Clippers.
And their job was to train pilots and that sort of thing.
This picture was, that's me.
That's you.
These other two fellows, one was from Cleveland and I believe one was from Dayton.
All right.
Me. This was in 1943. And it was taken at the same place this was in 1948. 86.
Now, there's only two of you here.
Well, this is my brother-in-law.
Oh, okay. That's your brother-in-law. Okay. You couldn't find these other two guys. That'd be an interesting picture.
All right, here's some more pictures of me at the...
Did you climb that rock when you were back in 86?
No. I did.
Oh, yeah, you did?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I did.
Well, that's interesting.
Now,
this is the same spot, huh?
Right. These two pictures are...
Well, what kind of building? What building is it?
This was the Club. Officers Club.
Officers Club, okay.
Did Edgar tell you today is his birthday?
He did, indeed. He was born in 1906.
Yeah. Now I want to show you something else.
All right.
This is the menu of the BOQ, Christmas of 1943.
That's great. That looks great.
Now the rest of those pictures are just pictures of 40s. Most of them are 86.
Yeah, when you went back. Okay, interesting. Well, let me ask you this then. When did you go in? When is your first day of enlistment?
May 1.
May 1 of 1943.
43.
Okay. And when were you discharged?
I never was discharged. I'm retired.
Okay, you're retired.
Navy lieutenant. I think my last tour of active duty was December the 25th of 45.
And you did your, what we call basic training, you did that in Columbus, Ohio?
Right. At Columbus and Purcell.
You got a direct commission in as a Navy. Okay. Right. Then you went to Purcell. And after Purcell, you went to Hawaii.
No. Yes. Went to Hawaii, and I was in Hawaii for 14 months. And then I got orders back to the Naval Air Station in Jacksonville, Florida for reassignment. Okay. And they wanted to send me to Miami, Florida, but I didn't want to go there because I'd been away from my wife for 14 months. And it was terribly crowded in Miami. You couldn't find quarters. And I said, you have to send me to Miami. He said, well, where do you want to go? I said, I'd like to go back to Purcell, Oklahoma. So I went back to Purcell, and we were there for about a year. And we were instructing, doing the same thing we had been doing all along.
I see.
My wife and I lived in Purcell for almost a year.
So I want to ask you if your wife was with you.
Oh, yes.
She was.
She was with me except the 14 months I was in Hawaii.
When did you get married?
July the 5th, 1930.
Okay, July
And
1930.
Right. If they had been, Las Vegas had been betting on this, the marriage never would have lasted because we had everything going against it.
You did.
We eloped to get married, crossed the river at Aberdeen into Maysville, was married in the Methodist parsonage right at the beginning of the Great Depression. I was still in school at Miami. I didn't have any job. We didn't have any money. We didn't have any sense. This lasted on our 71st year.
Well, I'll be darned. They would have lost their money then.
That's right.
Okay. So you were married all through your service career.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what did you do then on your spare time in the 14 months? Did you visit Pearl Harbor?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we were all over Honolulu, except everything was blacked out at 6 o'clock. You couldn't leave the station after 6 o'clock.
When you went to Pearl Harbor, this would be in 1943 or 44.
Right, 1943.
Had they managed to clean it up, so to speak,
Well,
or what?
the Arizona was still down, the Oklahoma was still down. A lot of the structure work hadn't been cleaned up. There was still barbed wire on all the beaches. Blackouts at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
All the time I was there.
I see. Okay.
Arizona's still down.
Yeah, and the Arizona, of course, is still down.
You've been back to that memorial, haven't you?
Right.
Okay.
That is the only battleship in commission in the United States Navy now.
It's
The Arizona. The Arizona is still in commission. They raise the lower the flag every day because there were over 1,100.
Now, they had 4 other battleships here recently. Had they mothballed or decommissioned all the New Jersey and Wisconsin?
There are no battleships in commission now. The Missouri, the New Jersey, the Wisconsin, the North Carolina, they're all decommissioned.
Okay. Now, you were on the ship for about 12 days, you said.
Going over to Hawaii and coming back. I went over on the battleship Pennsylvania. By the way, the battleship Pennsylvania was at Pearl on December 7th and was damaged some.
I see. Okay. Well, now, what's the worst thing that ever happened to you when you were in the Navy?
Censorship.
You were the censorship. Tell me about that job.
Well, it was, as I told you, you were reading other people's mail. There were personal information in there which you hated to read.
How long did you have that position?
I was collateral duty all the time I was there.
I see.
I had to, every morning I had to go up
14 months in.
Right. I had to go up and we got a dispatch from, you'll be interested in this, we got a dispatch from the Navy Department, delete all information of the LRN program. And we had no idea what that was.
LRN.
Right. And we found out afterwards that was when they were getting ready to bomb Tokyo and they were flying B-29s out there. VLR, very long range. That's what the VLR meant. And they were flying B-29s out there and they didn't want the Japs to know anything about it.
LRN must be long range what? Something.
VLR, very long range.
Okay,
Wasn't that General Doolittle doing that?
No.
That wasn't him.
Doolittle flew a B-26 off of a carrier.
Okay.
Yeah, that was about 42, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you would have to censor some things. What'd you do? Take a big black marker?
Most of the time you could do that if it was. Now, if we never run across that VLR program. We'd cut that out.
Right. Okay.
So you destroy the letter, see, when you do something like that.
Okay. Did you have, that was what they called V-mail? Was it the little...
No.
Okay.
This was written.
Okay. Written letters.
That V-mail was too slow. The sailor didn't use that.
Okay. I have some V-mail from my father, and they had a photograph of it.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Somewhere in England, you know.
Yeah.
So, what kind of things then would you censor?
Oh, if it had anything to do with location of troops. Location. We had an air group, which was a fighter squadron located there at Kaneohe. That would never be mentioned. The location of any ships or anything. Personnel. I mean, how many sailors you had or anything like that. You got all that out.
Well, after the war ended, you stayed in the Navy. Did you stay on active duty or was it reserve?
Reserve.
Okay.
That's what the Naval Reserve.
R stands.
Right.
Where would you do your duty then when you would have to report, I think?
Right. Every summer I did a 2 weeks training duty all over the country. Denver, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Dallas, Minneapolis.
Did you take your wife with you to these places?
Some of the times I did.
When you back at Fort Sill, Edgar?
No, I was in Oklahoma, but I wasn't at Fort Sill. I was at Purcell.
Okay.
How close is that to Fort Sill?
Oh, I would say 70 miles. Fort Sill is artillery.
My son was at Fort Sill.
That's artillery. Well, Purcell is 17 miles south of Norman.
Okay.
South of Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Just a little town, but the gunnery school was there.
Well, what's the best thing that ever happened to you while you were in the Navy?
Oh, I guess the people you meet, probably the people you meet. I met a lot of awfully nice people.
Do you keep in touch with any of those?
I've outlived most of them.
I see.
And we did for a while. I had a buddy who I was with about every station I went to. He was with me. But he's passed away several years ago.
Where was he from?
He was from Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay.
And he was a graduate lawyer and his law degree, and he was a school principal in Tucson, Arizona.
I see. Okay. Well, did you get involved in any veterans organizations?
I belong to the American Legion Post.
Do you?
In fact, when we came back in 45, there was no American Legion Post in Seaman.
I see.
And another sailor and myself and a World War I veteran decided that we needed a Legion Post in Seaman. So we set to work to get one, and Judge Jimmy Lang was very active in the American Legion at the time, and he was the judge there, and he helped us with the paperwork, and we organized the American Legion Post in Seaman.
It's still going strong?
Right, 633 is the number, and we organized it with the understanding that there would never be any drinking in the post, and there never has been.
Okay, so they lived up to that rule.
Right.
Okay.
Which is very unusual.
I was going to say that.
Right.
You won't find
No one I know of.
We organized it with that in mind. There would be, now they tried.
Did you get enough members though?
Oh, we have the most members there.
Really?
Of that. And the post is very well respected in the community because it is a dry community.
Oh,
and it is very well respected. And it's done a lot of community.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Now, is there anything else, Mr. Harry, you'd like to say? I mean, you have any tattoos you'd like to talk about?
No, I don't have them. I'm always afraid of
You're a sailor and you don't have any tattoos.
Don't I have a tattoo?
I know.
Does your wife have a tattoo?
I don't have any tattoos that I'm aware of.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to say, though?
Well, as near as I can remember, I enjoyed most of my duty in the Navy, except being away from home and that is. But I'm glad I did the experience, but I wouldn't want to do it again.
Yeah, that was a different time, a different era, wasn't it? The
Absolutely.
40s. Everybody seemed to be pulling together.
Right.
After Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor.
That sealed to my estimation.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That changed the whole world.
We were practicing a Christmas cantata at the Seaman Methodist Church, December 7th of 41, when we heard about Pearl Harbor. And nothing was the same after that.
What was the reaction then of the people?
They were dumbfounded. Well, a lot of them did. They were dumbfounded. They didn't know that a lot of the major damage had been done to capital ships like Arizona and the Oklahoma. They couldn't believe it. But it happened, and then they had to abide by it.
Well, what did you do then?
I taught.
After you heard this news, what did you do? Go home?
Well, we went back home and
Finished
school the next day. And
did you hear Roosevelt's speech?
oh yes,
All
the students heard it. The principal put it on the PA.
Typed it in.
Right. Oh yes.
Everybody listened very closely.
Right.